Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to talk about introducing a cat to a new space and I'll give you some what I believe to be more general guidance but also elaborate on my experience. And I have, for once, no other slides, and the reason is that the experience varies so much and how careful you have to be can be wildly different from one cat to another, right? It's such a personalized experience that you kind of have to read the animal and read you and read your space to try and make the best decision. So the first thing I'm going to do is walk through what Gabby's introduction to my space was like. And she already knew me at the time because I had spent a fair amount of time with her, probably a total of 4 or 5 hours over a period of like 2 weeks with her at the shelter. So she already fairly clearly knew who I was, or not necessarily instantly, but like recognized my scent and had the vaguest sense that I was okay. And so when I got her home, when the gal from the shelter came to drop her off and just glance at the home to make sure I wasn't a hoarder, I said, "All right, I've got a space set up for her in my master bathroom because that bathroom had its tile, which is nice, but there's also mats and stuff. And as weird as this sounds, the bathroom and bedroom often end up smelling the most like humans. So that can be a fairly nice place. Like it was a good compromise, right? Litter box and stuff in the bathroom for her just in case that there's a mess that happens, whether it's a messy eating or whatever, right? But also, it's going to smell like me, and it was right next to the master bedroom, which of course smells a lot like me. So I figured maybe the scent would help her. But this little butthead doesn't hang out in the bathroom. So we open the kennel door, and she walks in, walks into the bathroom, greets me, greets the gal from the shelter, and then just turns around, jumps over her kennel, and goes walking around the rest of my apartment. Not like running away or anything. She's just checking out her cool new digs, right? So she just looked around, and when she was done, we just sat in the bathroom. And when she was done, she walked right back into the bathroom. We got the kennel out of the way, and she walked right back into the bathroom and greeted us again, and then sat there with us. Because she was like, okay, well, I've seen the space. I like it. I'll just sit with you guys till we're off to do whatever it is we're doing next. So for the case of my cat, she told me basically instantly, before I really even had time to react, that what she wanted was to see the space and understand the space and then just come back and sit with us and do whatever it was we were doing. That, I don't know that that's really very typical. I appreciated it a lot because that told me again that our energies were probably right and that she was very well socialized. And we don't know who her owner was, who her original owner was, because she was found abandoned. So we have no idea really where she came from. But whoever socialized her as a kitten must have done a marvelous job, or either she has the perfect personality for it anyway. So that was really nice for me to see. That really helped me relax because that meant that I could, like, I've taken her on a few trips to see my parents' place, right? To just spend a couple weeks with the rest of my family in a different state, in a different setting, even to some degree a different climate. And she's just all good with all of that as long as I'm around and as long as she gets just a minute to be a little bit calm. She's totally good to go in new places, and it takes I made the joke that it took less time for her to adjust to me and my space than it did for me to adjust to her. So I got pretty lucky there. A more typical experience is something more like what happened to a friend of mine who adopted a cat from the same shelter. Actually, I think we ended up adopting on the same day. So what her cat did basically was just, they made sure he knew where the litter box and stuff was, and then ran under their bed and basically lived under their bed for like 2 or 3 days. That I think is probably more typical. And he came out to eat or use the litter box or whatever, but that was basically it. Otherwise, he was under the bed for a while. And that was due to a couple things. Their house was larger, their house was busier because they also had dogs, but their dogs are relatively well behaved, so it's not like they were harassing him or anything. But it was probably a contributing factor that there was just more going on in general. But also, that's up to the personality of the cat, right? That cat was maybe a little bit more typical in that maybe he spent more time alone than my cat did. Maybe he was just less used to people in general. So maybe he just needed more time. And that's fine. But that's another instance where the cats will kind of tell you what they want. And you have to be, to a degree, prepared to react to what they want. Because you want to set a decent example for them around where your boundaries are. So if you're drawing unrealistic or unfair boundaries right instantly in their eyes, that you actually also don't really care about long term, you're just trying to be maybe overprotective in that first introduction, you may actually be doing a lot more harm than good. But if you just shove them in a bathroom with 2 dogs, 100 plants, 2 kids, and maybe 3 or 4 of your closest friends right out of the gate, you may also be doing a lot more harm than good. It just depends on the personality of the cat. In my case, I bet Gabby would have thought it was crowded and it seemed unnecessary, but she wouldn't have been mad. So there again, the cat will often indicate what they want. My personal preference would be, like if I were to, when I, for example, bring Gabby home, I put her in the bathroom that her litter box is going to be in at my parents' place, and I just leave her there for at least a few minutes so that I know that she knows where her litter box is, she knows where one of her safe places is going to be, and gets comfortable with that. And she tells me when she wants to get out. She'll start meowing. She'll start yelling for me to let her out. And I often wait for her to go through one cycle of that just so that I'm not rewarding her with, she's making noise, and then I do something so she gets what she wants, right? I'll let her quiet down just a little bit, and then I'll open the bathroom door and I'll just walk around the house with her. I let her explore at her pace, but I kind of walk with her, not on top of her, but near her. And that can work a lot for a cat too. Like if they know you super well and they like you a lot, there's nothing wrong with you letting them explore a new space after a very short amount of time and just walk with them, keep tabs on them, and they'll often appreciate that you're there because, again, they know you, so it'll help make them feel safe. One thing I haven't talked about, though, is how to introduce a cat to a multi-cat home. And that can be, well, frankly, it can be a nightmare, but it, again, depends a ton on the cats involved, and I don't have as much experience with this, but generally the rule of thumb is to set them up in a situation where they know that other animals, and particularly if there are other cats, are there. And how you do that depends a lot, but something that I believe my uncle has done, who has several cats, he has basically kept the new one in his bedroom and kept the other cats out of the bedroom. Because that helps really establish the new cat's scent in an important place. And then I know somebody else who did that same thing, but then moved the cat somewhere else. Took the cat to a different room because the cat was totally fine with everything, so the cat didn't really care. But that exposed the other parts of the house to that cat's scent in a controlled way. And by then, the cats weren't like pawing at each other through the door or anything like that. They were just, they'd come up and sniff and they at the door and stuff like that. And then what he did was he slowly opened the door in a fairly controlled way, like to expose one cat to the new cat, and then just evaluated the situation from there. So again, I don't have any slides because it's so much like educated guessing for what your cat wants, what new cats want, that you just kind of have to follow any indication they give of what they want. And I wish that I could give more information on that, but I just don't have a ton of experience. Gabby has met lots of different kinds of animals, ranging from dogs to guinea pigs to bird, but she's always just wanted to be friends with all the other animals, and usually the other animals have been afraid of her. So I don't know how she would react really to other cats even, but in the case of other animals, I've never had anything to worry about, even with the guinea pigs. Except that Gabby wants to carry them like a cat would a kitten, and you can't carry a guinea pig like that because their spines are too weak and you could really hurt them. But so that's an area where I really just don't have a ton of experience is introducing a new cat to a multi-cat home. I know like some of the general guidance, and that's about it. But anyway, that's it for this one, and I will see you guys in the next one.